शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये. Om. Dear friends, we are seeing the shloka number 52 of the second chapter of Geeta. That is Sankhya Yoga, 52nd shloka. That is Yada te mohakalilam buddhirvyati tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. I was telling you that Krishna is advocating two prerequisites for Atmagyana. What are the two prerequisites? One is the purity of mind. And if your mind is pure, it is not enough. There should be focusing ability also. Because with that ability to focus, one has to study, one has to do that Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and then realize what is the reality. So there are two steps. One is, first of all, there is Antakarana Shuddhi is needed. And thereafter, focusing the mind. We are going to see in Gita, and Atma Sanyama Yoga, then again Dhyana Yoga. The Dhyana Yoga is basically for this focusing of the mind. So, tada gantasi nirvedam, the second line we were seeing, tada gantasi nirvedam. When you overcome all the delusion which is called by moha, moha kalilam, when you cross over that moha, when you cross over the delusion, what is the delusion? The delusion is basically about forgetting one's own nature. Forgetting one's own nature, that one's own nature is very divine, that is divine in nature, and thinking that you are so and so, you are this, that, etc., and you are having so many social bondages and so many things, and then you are engaged in good, bad, ugly, and all types of activities. So that is what is moha. And a person, he has to slowly and cautiously also and consciously, he has to analyze them. He has to analyze his activities. At some point of time, he has to question himself. What have I been doing? Have I been doing the right thing? In Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a line, Kimaham sadhuna karavam, kimaham papam akaravam iti. Why did I not do good things in my life? Many people think that at old age, we see very many old people, Arey, I did not learn Sanskrit when I was young. Had I learnt, it would have been good. People say, many people, well-meaning people, good people, they say, oh, somehow I missed, this is the greatest mistake in my life, they say. So at the age of 70, they say, but had that knowledge been there earlier, that would have been better. Anyway, even at that age, there is nothing wrong. They need not learn Sanskrit. They can at least listen to some good people. They can at least listen to some Swamiji. They can listen to some Swamiji who has done some really good study, and then they can know what is there in our text and what is the reality. So anyway, tada gantasi nirvedam. When you do this analysis of what have I done, what is right and what is wrong, it is called a nitya, anitya vastu viveka. Shankaracharya calls it nitya, nitya vastu viveka. Viveka means analysis, that is discrimination. Discrimination means not racial discrimination or caste discrimination. Discrimination means analysis. Analyze this. You have to put it in their proper place. That is what is discrimination. So that discrimination or analysis leads to vairagya. And again, vairagya is something which reinforces this discrimination. So this viveka and vairagya are said to be two wings of a bird. Ubhabhyam eva pakshabhyam yatha khe pakshinam gatihi. There is a nice shloka which talks about the importance of viveka and vairagya. This viveka supports vairagya and vairagya supports viveka. These two are like the wings of a bird which help the bird in flying. So a seeker is like that bird. And this viveka and vairagya are his two wings. So like that, tada gantasi nirvedam. The word nirvedam means vairagya. Then shrotavyasya, shrutasya cha. What is to be followed? Shrotavyam. Shrotavyam is something which has to be heard, something which has to be known, something which has to be followed. Shrutasya cha, something which is already known. I may be knowing so many shastras, and all those shastras may be irrelevant for Atmagyana. So all those shastras is not going to give you freedom from bondage. Freedom from bondage is only by Atmagyana. A person may be a great mathematician, a person may be a great physicist, a person may be a great doctor, biologist, this, that, etc., etc. And all that knowledge may not release him from his anxiety, his neurosis. We see very many great people having all types of neurosis. What is this neurosis? Neurosis is something as a result of not understanding his own situation, not examining his own situation. He goes to a psychologist, and that psychologist says, okay, do this mindfulness meditation. And this mindfulness meditation is the primary step which Geeta says. Geeta says, you analyze what you are doing, do that viveka, do that nitya vastu viveka. what exactly is your task, or what are your priorities. As I said, these shlokas can be applied for normal situations also. These shlokas which Krishna is telling in the context of Brahmagyana, they can also be applied for normal situations. And the psychologists, the Western psychology has taken so many lessons from Indian philosophy. Indian philosophy means not only Vedanta, but also from Buddhism. Buddhism or Buddhists also, they have done great analysis of human mind. So all these mind sciences, these people have taken some good methods. In fact, they are developing in a much better way. All these mind sciences, the Western scientists now, they are developing in a very nice way. It is something which is commendable. So a great scientist, he may be a great man in his own field, but then he is having his own depression, and he is having his own neurosis, he is having his own problems in life. That is because of wrong understanding of life. What is life and who am I? What is this? What is the nature of self? He has no understanding. So here he says, Shrotavyasya, Shrutasya cha. In fact, the people live with so much of information now. In fact, nowadays, with all this technology which has grown, we have got so much of information in front of us. Every day, we are flooded with so many WhatsApp messages and so many so many messages from all other types of social media. It may be Twitter, it may be something else, Facebook, etc., etc. And if we read one book called The Brave New World, it is not a new book, it is a very old book by a philosopher called Aldous Huxley. This Aldous Huxley was a British philosopher who had very great interest in Vedanta. Aldous Huxley was a very great student of Vedanta. And that man, he wrote a book called The Brave New World. And he also, after 30 years later, he also wrote another book called Brave New World Revisited. That is something like part 2. So in those books, he tells how this modern science is creating, it is getting so many things into the life of man, and the life of man, the human being is thinking that okay, he is quite happy with so many gadgets and so many things and all that, but ultimately his life is hijacked. He is not able to know, he has no time for knowing the reality, he has no time to sit and contemplate, he is just drifted, he is just drifted by so many apparently pleasant things, and he uses a word called pleasurable digressions. All these so many pleasurable digressions. For example, a TV is there, it is a pleasurable digression. So many serials are there, TV serials are there. All these serials, they hook us to that, and then they just lead into its own world. And everybody is so busy in all these things. And people forget the priorities. They do not know what exactly is the reality, and they get drifted like that. So, in fact, that book of Aldous Huxley makes a very interesting reading. And in fact, he also writes in the second thing that Brave New World Revisited. For example, sexual promiscuity is actually encouraged. Sexual promiscuity in society is encouraged as a matter of tactic, as a sort of tactic to keep the people to make the people feel that, oh, they have got so much of liberty, there is so much of equality, etc., etc. So these are some of the Western ideals, unfortunately, have been picked up by our own judiciary also. Our own judiciary also feel, yes, this sexual promiscuity, that sexual freedom is a real freedom. It is a very, very unfortunate development. It is an unfortunate development which was visualized by philosophers like Aldous Huxley. That, okay, that gives an impression, oh, there is so much of freedom in this society. And if you don't have that sexual freedom, oh, this is a sort of bondage, this is a sort of primitiveness in society. So such things, such perversions are happening in society. So we are exposed to so many things in the society. That is what you can understand by the words Shrotavyasya tada gantasi nirvedam Shrotavyasya Shrutasya cha. You want to get rid of all these things, you will get disillusioned. You will get disillusioned with what all has been known, what all these stupid things, all these irrelevant things. All these irrelevant things have taken you for a ride over a period of time. In fact, my advice to all the people generally is, whenever I go and address students, I tell them, don't watch these TV serials. If you want to watch, okay, you want some science programs, something relating to science, technology, etc., something relating to maybe some other useful things, maybe some other things may be there, but certainly not all these serials and all this stupid stuff. So that is my advice. That is because a person, he is just taken for a ride. He is just taken for a ride, and mind is actually, all the minds are actually drowned in so much of unnecessary information, and drowned in a world of irrelevance, let us say. drowned in irrelevance. So here, tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When you cross beyond this moha kalilam, this sort of confusion, then you will attain that sort of vairagya, and that vairagya regarding things which you already know and which you are supposed to, which you want to know. That is what all pursuits, so many pursuits are there in our life. All our pursuits we start reviewing. Is it right? Is it really needed? So we review all our activities and then we reduce all of them, and life becomes much simpler and mind becomes very, very clear. And the same thing he writes in the next shloka also. Next shloka he is talking about what I called Nishchalatvam. I was telling about Nirmalatvam and Nishchalatvam. Nirmalatvam is purity of mind. Nishchalatvam is concentration of mind, that focusing ability. So, Shruti Vipratipannate yada sthasyati Nischala samadha vachala buddhi tada yogamavapsyasi. So, Shruti Vipratipanna te yada sthasyati Nischala. It is a very, very bold statement by Vyasa. Shankaracharya, not Shankaracharya, of course, Lord Krishna is saying it, but the writer is Sage Vyasa. Sage Vyasa, he is telling what Krishna has told. Shruti Vipratipanna, a very, very bold statement. There are so many, Shruti means Veda. Shruti Vipratipanna means there are so many statements in the Vedas which say you can do this, you can do this, you can do that. There are so many options. And the people, they follow so many things, they are confused by so many statements. And we were seeing earlier, I was telling you, Veda has told so many things because it has to cater to all types of people. It has to cater to somebody who merely wants some punyam, who wants some other phalam, who wants some other phalam. So people of different nature, sattva, rajas, tamoguna, all types of people, the Shruti takes into consideration. For a tamoguna people, where this Shruti suggests some activity. Okay, don't be in tamoguna, you do this activity. And for somebody who is from that tamoguna, he comes to rajoguna, then he says, no, don't be in rajoguna only, do this thing and then come to sattva-guna. And for somebody who is in sattva-guna, okay, you do this upasana so that slowly and slowly you give up this karma and then go to the path of jnana. So like that, Shruti is like a headmaster which is training a person from LKG to some post-graduation. So it is like that. So that is the reason why Shruti gives so many options and so many things. But unfortunately, if we do not understand the Shruti properly, what happens is Vipratipannaha. There is a Vipratipatti. Vipratipatti means so many different options. Vipratipatti means difference, why diversity in options. So much of diversity is there and so many options are there and so much sort of confusion is created by so many prescriptions which are there mentioned in this Shruti. So that is what is the meaning of Shruti Vipratipannaha. Or somebody who has read so many Shrutis and so he is so confused whether to do this or that or that. A person who is a very, very well-read man, somebody, we find people, very great scholars, who are highly confused. So it is like that. Shruti Vipratipannate yada sthasyati nischala. When your buddhi becomes firm, nischala, you have to focus, you have to analyze what is the right thing for you. What is the right thing which is putting you on the jnana path? Where are you and what you need to get onto the jnana path? Because we are also supposed to know our own level. At what level I am when a seeker when I am a seeker, I should also know whether I am at the karma yoga level or whether I am in a slightly higher level or whether I am in a lower level. So I should know my level. And a teacher is an ideal teacher, a good teacher is a person who will tell us also, you do this, you do that, etc. So then he says, Shruti Vipratipanna te yada sthasyate nischala. Nischala means firm, that is having a proper focus. Samadhavu achala buddhihi. Nischala samadhavu sthita. Samadhavu sthita. Samadhi. This samadhi is again, what is the word? It is again a technical word. Samadhi, it is the first time it is coming here in this text. Samadhi means focusing the mind in a particular thing. That is what is samadhi. The literal meaning is that. That is focusing a mind, keeping a mind focused in a particular thing is called samadhi. Samyak adhiyate manaha asmin iti samadhi. Samyak means very well. Adhiyate manaha asmin iti samadhi. That is, mind is properly focused in a particular theme or object or something. That is what is samadhi. And here, this samadhi is a word which is used in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra also. The very first shloka, the very first sutra, of course, first sutra says Atha Yoga Anushasanam. The second, the very immediately following sutra says, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha. Yoga is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. That is what they say is Samadhi. Samadhi is a total cessation of all the Chitta Vrittis. That is, the mind is a continuous flow. Mind is like a river. Mind is like a river in which all these ideas, they keep on flowing and flowing and flowing. So that is a mind. In fact, Chitta Srotaha. Patanjali uses a word called Chitta Srotaha. Srota means the pravaha. Pravaha means a flow. The Chitta flow, that flow of mind. In fact, the same thing has been taken by the modern psychologists. They say stream of consciousness, they say. Stream of consciousness is a word which is used. When I long ago, when I heard this word stream of consciousness, I felt, oh, how great it is. But later, much later, when I saw this Patanjali Yoga Darshana, and in this Yoga Darshana, when I am finding these things, these are all the same concepts which have been studied by so many people at that time, like that William James and people like that. And these people have translated these things into English, and they developed a new science there. Basing on the same ideas, they have developed the modern psychology. The entire modern psychology, in fact, our scholars have to actually do research into such things. Unfortunately, our scholars do not do research into such things. If we do research into what William James has done, and William James, what are the sources for William James, and what are the sources for various modern concepts in psychology, then we will see all the concepts are here. It is not as though somebody has copied, somebody has stolen. We need not feel like that. Basically, to have a sense of pride in ourselves. In fact, what we lack is that sense of esteem, sense of self-esteem, sense of pride. That in our tradition, we have got so much of material, and this material is something which we do not know. Okay, even if you do not know, it is all right, but we should not ridicule. We are ridiculing also. Without knowing, we are ridiculing. Without knowing, we are ridiculing. Geeta, without knowing, you are ridiculing something else. So that ridiculing is bad. The basic problem is, if we do not know, it is okay. If you do not know and still ridicule, that is something which is bad. That is what many of our intellectuals do. Many of our intellectuals, they do not read Gita. They do not read any other Yoga Sutra, for example. If you read Yoga Sutra and all the commentaries on Yoga Sutra, it is really so mind-boggling. There are so many commentaries on Yoga Sutra written by ancient commentators. And professors from Harvard and professors from some other universities, they come and study all those commentaries. And they study, whereas we do not study. And then we only ridicule these things. So that is the tragedy. So anyway, here is a Samadhi. I was trying to explain the word Samadhi and we got digressed. So what is this Samadhi? In Patanjali Yoga, keeping this Chitta Srota, I was telling about the stream of consciousness. This stream has to be totally stopped and the mind has to become very, very empty. So that is what is Samadhi in that Yoga Shastra. The stream, all these Chitta, various thoughts are coming and going and coming and going. So we have to concentrate and concentrate and concentrate, and by various practices like breathing, etc. This pranayama helps in concentration of mind. So doing this pranayama practices and all that, we have to make the mind totally free from any thoughts. So chitta vritti nirodha, absolutely stopping all these chitta vrittis. So that is what is in that state of samadhi, he is there, he is in the state of bliss, and then he is there for some time. And when he comes out, again of course he is there in this normal world. But in Vedanta, the meaning of samadhi is slightly different. In Vedanta, meaning of samadhi is not that chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta vrittis, let all the chitta vrittis come and go, let all the chitta vrittis be there. In Vedanta, the meaning of samadhi is that he is realizing that consciousness, realizing the consciousness which is illumining every thought, because the thought is coming, and behind every thought, what is there which is behind every thought? Behind every thought is that consciousness. You are always aware of that Brahman consciousness behind every thought which is coming and going, coming and going. So you are watching like a drashta. You are watching, drashta means a witness. You are watching all the thoughts like a witness. And all the thoughts, they keep coming and going, and you are the drashta, you are the witness for all these things. So that is what is called samadhi in Vedanta. Vedanta is, you are a drashta, you are watching all the things, you are a witness, and you are not a participant. And you don't say, this is my thought. thoughts will come and go, and you are merely watching the thoughts. So that is, and you are also you are staying in that Brahmatma Bhava. My nature, my essential nature is that pure consciousness, which is actually illumining all these thoughts, which is knowing all these thoughts. So there is some technical difference. Some yogi may not accept it, the Vedantis and yogis and Sankhyas. So that is why they have been debating. No, what you said is not right, what I say is right. But then we have to know some basic basic concepts. So Samadhi according to Patanjali Yoga is something, and Samadhi according to Vedanta is something different. So here, Samadhau achala buddhihi tada yogam avapsyasi. At that time, when you are having that ability to focus, and when you are in that Samadhi, that is what is that Viveka Prajna, and you are attaining that, you are realizing that Brahman awareness at that particular stage. So he, in this particular shloka, Krishna is now actually talking from a Karma Yoga level, he has actually come to a sort of Jnana Yoga level, and that is actually prompting Arjuna to pose a question. And we will see that question tomorrow. That question is about Sthita Prajna. We also know this famous word called Sthita Prajna. So who is a Sthita Prajna? Question Arjuna is going to ask. So we will see it tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.